Hi everyone, this is Dominique Aubrey with Black Women's Guide, and you're receiving this video, How to Anchor into Your Expertise, because you signed up for our upcoming webinar on September 12th called Converting Your Community. You don't have a product at 8 p.m. This is your mini training on how to anchor into your expertise. And the reason I picked this as a topic was because I find it to be critically important. So many times I talk to women who are building businesses who are only responding to market demand, right? They're like, oh, people want marketing advice, I'm gonna teach that. Or people want, smoothie recipes, I'm gonna make those, or whatever. And yes, that's like, I get it, because you're responding to the market demand, but you might not actually be an expert in that thing. You might not actually know that thing that deeply. And you have to ask yourself a question of how committed you are to learning that thing, to become an expert, to speak on it consistently. What's a little bit easier is to figure out how to merge kind of what you know with what is needed in the market to create a situation where you can be seen as an expert in your field. Because as an expert, you're always going to be able to talk from a place of knowledge. You're going to be able to get better clients, higher price points, and really just operate from a place of confidence in your business. So today, what we're going to do is talk through a basic kind of 5-step process in how to anchor into your expertise so that you have clarity around what you know best that you can teach to others. Okay. The reason why this happens, a lot of times I hear people say like, I want to help people, sorry, my hair's, I want to help people build a business. I'm like, okay, cool. What kind of business do you want to help them build? All businesses, a nonprofit? Do you want to help a blogger? Do you want to help someone's doing a food tech startup? Like, what type of business are we talking about? And yes, is it possible that you could actually help all of them build a business? Sure. But do you know that for sure? Right? Are you prepared to do that? A lot of times what happens, people start down that path and very quickly they have to kind of go back and like change their plan or change their services because they realize that they can't actually provide the quality of service they want to provide across the spectrum. So anchoring into your expertise gives you a framework or a perspective and a center point in which guides kind of what your area of content knowledge is that you can speak comfortably on. Right? So I'm just going to talk through this 5-step process, and you can do it if you have, give you guys a moment, just get a pen, paper, and you can pause this, get a pen and paper, and we're just going to go through the process, and I'm going to say it out loud, and you're going to write it down and fill it out. So you can pause. Okay, we're going to go on. So on your piece of paper, I just want you to write for number 1, what do you know for sure? Meaning, what do you want to help people with? What I mean by that, so often what happens, people say, oh, well, start figuring out your business by, writing down what you're good at, what you like. And I'm going to go a different route because I find that question without guidance can send you in no man's land. Like, yeah, so now I know I like fashion. Like, so what? Now what? Right? So this is a little bit more of an organized way to think through that process. So the first question is like, what do you know for sure? Right? When it comes to your business, what do you know for sure? So a way to answer that question is like, how do you want to help people? And just make a list. You can say, I want to help people get fit, healthy. I want to help people succeed in their lives. I want to help people have healthy relationships. I want to help people feel confident. I want to help people get better jobs. I want to help people start businesses. This is a broad overarching statement. So you don't have to get specific, super specific. It's just about like, what do you want to do, right? How do you want to help people? What do you know for sure about what the thing you want to create in the world? Like, right? Just write that down. Write a couple of those down. Now, here's the kicker. When you write all those things down, all the things you want to help people, all the things that you know for sure around what you want to build or create with your business, right? You have to still end up picking one of them. Now, so here's the interesting thing. Some of those things could be collapsed, or some might apply to multiple different things. But your goal is to look at that list and say, what's the one thing that like hell or high water I can't let go of? I think that's a better way to answer the question versus what is everything? What do I want? Because like you might want everything on that list. You might want to build a business that helps people get confident, gets them healthy, gets them fit, gets them in a healthy relationship, all these different things, but right, you can't do all those things at once. So like the question is like not what you want, even though you're making, the first question is like, what do you want to create? What do you know for sure? How can you help people, right? So like, what do you think, what kind of area do you want your business to be in? Where do you want to provide value? How do you want to help people? That's the first question, okay? That's really broad. But now when I look at that question, what I want to ask myself, when I've written down the things I want to create through my business, what do I know for sure about what I want to create in my business? I want to take that list and I want to say, what can I not live without? Out of all the things on my list, what's the one thing on here that, like, hell or high water, I have to do? That's it. Okay? So you might end up with, like, let's say you have a list of 7 things. Maybe you end up with 3. Well, how do you get down to 1? So the way I look at it is like, you can ask yourself 2 questions. You can say, what's fundamental, meaning out of the 3 things that are left, which one, like, has to be true for the others to be true? Right? Which means what's your starting point? Or the second question is just straightforward, like, which one can I do first? Or which one am I most committed to long term? Which one am I most committed to long term? Which one should I do first? Which one is foundational or fundamental? And that's going to let you go through your list and identify from the big list to the medium list to the number 1 thing, right? So I'm going to just say that all over again. So step number 1 is you're going to write down what do you know for sure about your business? Another way to say the question is, how do you want to help people? I want to help people create or do X. What is that thing? Write those all down. Be exhaustive. Take 5 minutes. Write as much as you want. It can be 15 things you write down. It can be 30. It can be 5. I don't care. Write as much as you want down. Then go back to that list, right, and say, which thing can I not live without? Which thing has to happen? 100%, no negotiation, has to be true. That gives you a shorter list. Hopefully that gives you only 1 thing, but if it doesn't, it gives you a shorter list. And I really want to push you to be expansive and not, like, try to preempt the answers and preempt the questions by, like, only making a short list because you promised yourself these were the 3 things. Like, I want you to start from scratch in your mind here and, like, open yourself up. So write as many things down as you can, then you shorten the list by asking what things, hell or high water, have to happen. And then look at that short list and say, what's fundamental, what has to happen first, what is necessary, right? And then that will give you the 1 thing, okay, that you care about. So you can pause. Okay, the second thing you're going to do. So now that you've written down, here's the thing I care about, like, now you know, like, the thing I know, what I know for sure is that I want to build a business that helps people get healthy. Okay, what I know for sure is that I want to build a business that helps people get healthy. Okay? What I want you to do, and number 2, is write down all the skills you have, hard and soft skills, that are related to that goal. So if your goal is to get people healthy, write down all the things that you know that can get someone healthy. Maybe you know a ton about diet. Maybe you know a ton of exercises. Maybe you used to play basketball or field hockey or whatever, right? So let's write down all the soft and the hard skills. One of the things people make a mistake on is they go, well, I'm a really good communicator. Really? How do you know? How do you know? What test did you create that ensures that you know that you're a good communicator? Well, I'm really organized. Really? How do you know? What's your productivity rate? How many things off your to-do list do you get done? What does organization even mean to you? How much do I care that you're organized versus productive? It's really easy when it's only us to kind of tell ourselves the story of what we're good at. That's like, oh, I'm really organized, or I'm really efficient, or I ask questions when I need help, or all these things that we tell ourselves about how we operate in the world. But we haven't pressure tested those with, like, external people. It'd be like, hey, do you find that, like, when I need help, I ask questions? Then we go, actually, like, no, you don't. Like, remember that time when, like, you could have just asked me for this thing, but you didn't because you wanted to figure it out yourself? And you go, oh, yeah, because I thought, I don't want to ask stupid questions, or I felt like I knew the answer. And they're going to go, I know, but that's an area where you should have asked for help, right? So the perspective of the other person is always really important, because in this context, not because it's about your self-esteem, but because you're actually selling a product to somebody else. You're selling expertise to somebody else. How do you verify and qualify that you have that expertise that you're sharing? So if you're going to sit there and say, I get people healthy, I want you to write down all the skills you have that relate to that goal. And it can be soft and hard. So soft skills can be like, I went to med school. Might be a hard skill even. I went to med school. I know a lot about science. I know a lot about health. My parents are really healthy, so we've had a lineage of health and wellness in our family. I work out every single day. I played sports as a kid, right? So you want that combination of hard and soft skills. The soft skills are like the things I know. The hard skills are like the things I did. I know about diet. I went on a diet, right? Okay, so hard and soft skills. So you're gonna write down all the hard and soft skills that you have related to your goal, which is what you know for sure around your business is that you want to help people do X. And whatever that X is, I want you to write down all the hard and soft skills that you have that relate to that goal. That's number 2. Again, you can pause, take 5 minutes, write out the answers, and then press play. Okay, awesome. So, number 3. So now that you know what you're trying to create, and now you know the skills that you kind of have that are in this bucket or in this area of expertise, the next thing you're going to do is basically figure out what people need to create that thing. So you're going to go, okay, I want people to get healthy. Number 3 is make a list of all the things that they could do to get healthy. They could get a personal trainer. They could get a dietitian and a coach. They could get, a book. They could read a blog. They could join a contest. They could work out every day at the gym. They could work out at home. They could use weights. They could run. They could just make a list of all the things that that person would need to do or could do, right? Multiple paths to success, right? The things they could do or should do or would do if they were trying to get healthy. Whatever for your goal is, if they're trying to succeed in their business, what things would they do? They would get an LLC set up. They would find a co-founder. They would talk to investors. They would go to the bank. They would scope out property. They would build a product, right? What are all the things that that person needs to do to hit that goal themselves? Right? So just make a list of all the things that they would need to do to reach that goal by themselves. That's number 3. You can pause. Okay, so 4. Now that you've done all that, now that you know what you're trying to get to, and you know your skills, and you know what they need to do, the 4th is actually like a little matrix, where you're going to basically look at the list of things, and you're going to say, out of all the things that I know how to do from my skill list, where do those things apply against the things that they need to do? You're going to match. So take all the things that you have in question 3, write them in a list, a clean list, like on one side of the paper, like just write them down here. On the other side, you can either make columns if you want, but you're basically going to take each of the things that you know how to do and you're going to write it next to the skill that that person needs to have. So for example, if you say getting healthy, and you say, well, one of the ways they can get healthy is changing their diet. And so then next to that, you're going to write, my skill is that I know a lot about nutrition, I'm a nutritionist. I've done 3 or 4 different diets. I know what one works best for me and why, right? Whatever. Or you can say, my goal is to have them build a business, and one of the things they need to do is create their incorporation paperwork. Or you can say, I'm a lawyer, or I just created my own paper. I did my own paperwork. I know how the process goes. So you're going to write down all the things you know against the things that they need. Okay? And this is why it's really important to go in depth, because here's the problem, is a lot of people think they know. They go, oh, I know you need to build a business. You need to, you need to do social media or whatever. And they get through 5 minutes before they don't have any more answers for you. They generically know, they understand, right? They're like, oh, okay, if you want to sell your business, you have to have a website, and you have to have a Facebook page. And on your website, you should have an email sign up. Okay, that's pretty fundamental information if you're in the industry or if you're in the field. They can probably go online and Google that and find that out. So you're not an expert in that. Now, if you can break down for me what makes my ad on Facebook, to optimize it so I can get maybe instead of getting a 1% conversion rate, I can get a 2.5 or 3 point conversion, which is really quite high. Like, then I'm saying, oh, no, you're an expert because you can look at the 5 lines of copy I have in there and say, this is what's wrong about this. This is what's wrong with this. That's hurting your conversion and making it a 1.8 versus a 2.6. That's expertise. So when you build out that skills list for yourself, make it really in depth. If you have to pause and go back to it, make it really, really, really in depth. Because when you match it against the skills people need, you want to be able to say, like, I really know for sure that I can do these things. Not I kind of understand them. Because I talked to a lot of people who've, in the business space or entrepreneurial space, who do have a really good fundamental knowledge of a lot of things. They just don't have expert knowledge in a lot of things. And that's where we make the mistake. And this is all about anchoring into your expertise. It's not about everything you know. It's about what you know the most, what you know the best, what you're best at sharing, teaching, whatever. Okay? So you want to make sure that you have a really robust skills list that you can apply to your matrix so that you can say, okay, they want to get in shape. Well, I work out every day. I'm a personal trainer. That's where my expertise comes from. Now, there's different kinds of expertise. So I'm going to pause on this moment before you do step 4. There's content knowledge expertise and there's actual experience expertise. Now, the best person has both, right? Because then that means that they've done it and they know it. But you can also say, like, listen, I read 100 books on this. I spent $10,000 learning this thing. So, like, yeah, you have knowledge. It's content knowledge, and that's okay. If you have experiential knowledge, it helps. It helps that I built a food business. It helps that I've, been involved in 3 different startups, right? It helps that I've trained thousands of entrepreneurs. Like, that stuff helps in my industry. But it also would be fine if I said, hey, yeah, you know what? I have a PhD in business economics. I know all this stuff, right? I can also teach that as well. Okay, so in this setting, just make that list really robust and then do that matrix. Then what you're going to do is you're going to look at that matrix and say, like, what are the 1 or 2 things that, like, have where my skills are most related? Meaning, I look at this list and, like, maybe after this list of 7 or 10 things I have, or 15 things, there's like 3 or 5 or whatever that, like, I was able to put a lot of things down. Like, I was able to say, like, I have all these skills related to this one issue. So maybe you're like, oh, you know what? Like, yeah, I do understand working out, but I'm a nutritionist and I actually can, like, crush it in the diet section. Or actually, yeah, I do know diet, but really, like, I do CrossFit and I've been working out, like, hard. I used to play hockey and, like, whatever. Or crew, or I used to play soccer, or I used to run track and field, or whatever. And so, like, I actually know the athletic part super well. And yes, diet's important, and I do have an opinion about what things you can do for your diet, but, like, I really know the workouts. Like, that's something that I'm on 100%. Okay? Because you want to find those 1 or 2 things, because that lets you say, oh, I know how to solve your problem. This is my particular way, given my expertise and my understanding and skill set and content knowledge, where I can teach you how to solve your problem, because I solved that problem, because this is what I did, because this is where my expertise lives. So even though the whole goal is to help people become healthy, you're going to anchor into the thing you're best at, which is, I'm really good at diet and nutrition. So I'm going to start talking about that. Or I'm really good at workouts and athleticism, so I'm going to talk about that. So even within this big kind of idea of health and wellness, you've now been able to delineate or to identify for yourself, oh, you know what, my perspective really is from here. Like, yes, I can talk about other things, but this is actually the thing I can most talk about, most comfortably, most often, most consistently, with the most knowledge. And that's where I'm going to anchor my expertise in. And that, when I say anchoring expertise, what I mean by that is it's going to be the first way people engage with your information is through that lens. Okay? So this means, it doesn't mean it's the only thing you're ever going to build. It just means that they're going to start and engage with you through this particular lens of which you are already an expert. Okay? That's what it means. Right? And from there, you start your business. So here, I'm going to say the 5 steps over again. You should take this is about a 20-minute video. It probably, with the activity, probably took you about half an hour. But it's so important. It's like the thing that no one talks about and no one says. And every time And like, I mean, I've been in the content business for like probably about 10 years. Like, just first in the first couple of years, just taking like I've seen people that I followed 10 years ago who were just starting out their businesses, like Marie Forleo and Ramit Sethi and like whatever, like blow up over 10 years while I watched and did nothing, right? Because I was still learning how to build a content business, right? Like I was watching them build it because they had expertise and examples that they could share, and they were doing all these things. And I've seen a lot of people, and one of the things for me, I've taken their courses, I've done a bunch of things, and the thing that everyone skips over in these like 8-week courses, 60 days to whatever, blah 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 blah, is they skip over the fact that you have to already know what you're trying to build with really 100% complete clarity. Because I can tell you stories, my stories, other people's stories, where they bought $1,000 program, learned all the technique, but actually never built the product. Because when they actually had to execute on it in reality, it fell apart. Why? Because they didn't actually know what they were trying to sell. They didn't actually know their voice, their customer voice, what they're sharing, what their internal expertise, what their expertise is, what people were going to come to them for, what they could anchor into. They didn't know. And I've seen it. I don't care if the program's $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. I've seen this over and over again. People just dropping out in the process because they just don't have enough time to figure that out. So this is the very beginning of figuring it out. But the best thing to do in the beginning is to really understand what your big goal is. That's number one, right? What do you know for sure around what you want to build? And that's a big statement. You don't have to be specific. It can be generic. It can be large. I want to help people get healthy. I want to help people succeed, right? You want to whittle that down so that you actually pick one. So it's not, I want to get people healthy and help them succeed. It needs to be one or the other. You need to write down all the ways in which you know how to make that true with your hard and soft skills that you already have right now. Not ones that you're getting, ones that you already know. If you have to go online to read about something that you want to tell everybody else, then you don't know it, so don't share it. It's not you. Right? Even if you know it, like for me, like I know social media, I just don't want to talk about it all the time. It's not my interest. It's not the thing I think is most compelling about what I can share and what I know. Right? Okay. The third thing you do is then say, what does the person who I'm trying to serve, what are all the things that they could do to also reach this goal? If they want to get healthy, get in shape, succeed in their life, feel confident, whatever that one thing you picked was, what do they have to do? That's number 3. The number 4 is matrixing the two and saying, well, out of all the things that they need to do, what things do I know how to do? And then you pick the ones where you have the longest list of stuff that you can do to meet that goal. And from there, you can build a business. From there, you know what your anchor is. From there, you know your perspective. From there, you're able to say, listen, you know what? I know you want to build a business, but I only work with people who are building food businesses. I only work with people who are selling to boutiques. And you might think, oh my gosh, no, because I'm not going to get enough clients. That's a different issue with your own confidence and your own belief in yourself to like get where you want to go. But I'm telling you, when you start, you want to be specific and isolate so you can actually provide the highest quality service to people the easiest way possible. If I tried to do like 10 things at once, I'm not going to complete them, which we already know that story, right? But we do it to ourselves all the time because we're not confident. So anchoring in your expertise lets you become confident. I teach Lean Startup. I'm confident in that. I don't teach social media marketing. Do I understand it? Have I learned it? Have I done it? Of course. But I am 100% confident in my understanding of Lean Startup because I've taught it to thousands of people. So when someone says to me, well, what do you teach or what's your expertise? I say, oh, Lean Startup. I can help any startup scale and grow. No problem. That's my expertise. Operations, systems management, process improvement, that's my expertise. Which is the area of pain that most entrepreneurs have in the beginning because they don't have that clarity of how to operationalize and set up their system, even at the fundamental basic level, with clarity on what they're trying to get accomplished. So they're just spinning their wheels. I just see people spinning their wheels all day. So this will help you start to not spin your wheels. Because if you can anchor into this and figure out, oh, you know what? So I'm going to be a health and wellness coach focused on athleticism. I'm going to be a health and wellness coach focused on diet. I'm going to be a business coach focused on nonprofits. I'm going to be a business coach focused on food companies. I'm going to be a lifestyle coach focused on building confidence. I'm going to be a lifestyle coach focused on building healthy relationships. You'll be able to identify that not just because you think one thing, but because you'll be able to look across your skill set and identify across what's needed and say, here's where the best matches are. So that is the video on anchoring your expertise. Those 5 steps. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at dominique@theblackwomansguide.com. I'm happy to help. Hopefully this serves you, and you can put your comments. You can put your comments in the Facebook group, Black Women's Guide to Business, or you can email me directly and ask questions. But I would highly, 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 highly behoove you to do this exercise. Take the half an hour and do the exercise because I think it will really make the difference in you getting really clear and starting to feel really confident about what you know for sure. And once you know something for sure, no one can take it from you. And you'll always have a place to start when it comes to building your content business because you'll be able to say, like, I know what I know for sure, which is one of the biggest problems people have. So hopefully that helps solve some of that. Thanks so much, and I will see you at the webinar.